Hi friends, it's Deanna Williston from Our Blooming Catholic Life, and I don't know if you can hear my little dog barking. Just as I started to film, as usual, he needed to go outside in the yard. I think he's chasing squirrels / protecting me, possibly taking a bathroom break, and I'm thankful that he does go over there. I don't have to worry about him. He's in a fenced-in yard, so I don't have to worry about him as I'm filming, hopefully. He's not going to come and go like he likes to do sometimes. And that's kind of the point of today's show. So I went on a tiny vacation. It was a little 4-day weekend, and it was lovely. We didn't go that far, but miracles of miracles. So it was so much fun. On the way down to where we were going, I saw a text from friends that one of them was almost in the same place and celebrating her 50th birthday, and another friend surprised her on this trip. And I haven't seen those friends since high school, so it's been like 30 years, and it's great to see them on Facebook. And it's complicated why I don't go back to my hometown or anything, but yeah. So I looked at my husband one of the little potty breaks, and I was like, I have this weird thing to ask you. Do you mind if I interrupt our vacation before it's even started? And he was like, go for it. And I texted them and I was like, hey, do you think we could get together just like for 5 minutes sometimes this weekend? And they did. They managed to carve out like a little half hour, and it was an amazing visit, and I was so grateful for it. And it really just reminded me to take advantage of those moments and just to be so amazingly grateful for them. And then on Sunday, I had another friend. It's so funny because I didn't meet her. She would have lived near me, but she actually moved away before I moved into this town. And she's in my secular Franciscan fraternity. Well, she was. She's now in my evening prayer group as she lives in Florida. And she was on vacation in the same town I was on vacation, and we got to pick her up for church on Sunday, and she went to church with us. And so that was just really fun to get to see her again. And yeah, we found this great bookshop, and just lots of walks, and meeting the local people was so fun. And it's so funny because it's a little bit different style of life where we went, even though it's not even 3 hours away. And it was just interesting to see the different cultures there, and that's it's so funny. It's not even 3 hours away. But we had so much relaxation in the morning, and then we ended the day. I had evening prayer with my online group, and then we'd go out to dinner and then back to spend some quality time together. And it was so lovely and refreshing. But, I felt so guilty because I had such a great time. I came back feeling not just grateful, but a little bit guilty. So I've been spending a lot more time trying to get the house into shape. I've never been great at that. I'm great at organizing. I'm not great at keeping organization and things back up. And, I have some strength issues and stuff. And so getting a handle on it's been pretty hard, but I've been motivated the last couple days and really getting some projects done that I've wanted to get done for a very long time. And then I grabbed my husband. I was like, oh, you have to come see. And he's learned this. We've learned this little marriage tip right here, ding, 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 for you, for free. I let him know that I've done something and that I want him to see it. So I took him to the room that I had spent all this time working on, right? And he came in and he was doing a good job. Oh, it's so amazing. I can see what you do. He was saying all the right words, but he wasn't looking in the right place. He was looking somewhere where I hadn't even touched anything. It was really funny. But I appreciated that he was trying, and I pointed out what I'd actually done. And he was like, oh, hey, what's this? Oh, I didn't remember we had that. And so even if he wasn't super impressed, he seemed grateful that I had put in the work, and he was happy for me that I was proud of the project I completed. And I was inspired, kind of. We had that book on gratitude that I tried to do in Lent. Again, not super great on finishing things, am I? And part of that was because in the book, the entire family was doing it. I could not convince my entire family to do it. I've tried. And so I wanted to look. I said, well, maybe the saints are going to have some great tips on gratitude. And so I went to, it looks like the website was coraevans.com, and she had 12 inspiring Thanksgiving quotes from Catholic saints, and the article was by Jeannie Ewing, and I'll put that in the description. So here are the 3 quotes that really stood out to me, and we're going to break them down a little bit and then get into the next thing that happened. Stay tuned. So this one is from St. Ambrose. Again, I did not research these myself. I can't give the references. There weren't any references there other than names. I apologize for that. But St. Ambrose said, I hope, no duty is more urgent than that of returning thanks. And so, yeah, I was doing that gratitude book for a while and trying to keep a gratitude journal, and it didn't super work. And I've tried it again. Is this my book that I'm using for, Introduction to the Devout Life? And so at the end of the day, I'm trying to do, that little recollection where I come up with 3 good things and 3 areas where I could really improve. So 3 things I'm grateful for, 3 things I could really improve at. And I admit I have fallen by the wayside there again, because it is something that you have to practice. And it says no duty is more urgent than that of returning thanks. And so it's just nice that we have a holiday coming up like Thanksgiving that reminds us again, hey, how have you been doing on that skill, right? And so I can pick that up again because I'm not very good and spontaneous in the moment. Like I was talking about, my husband wasn't super great at picking out things that I'd done, but I'm not really great at giving thanks in the moment either. I think about it later and I'm like, oh, I'm so happy that happened and stuff. And I don't know that I say it in the moment. I have so much going on in my head. I don't know if I get it out to the person then. That is one nice thing with social media now, is if I don't think of it in the moment, we take a picture and then I can put it on Facebook or whatever and include the thanks then. So it's kind of like you have a backup plan. You know how you used to before social media, you'd think of it later, oh man, I should have said this or that. Well, now that's how I use social media partially, is to put that on later. Not perfect, but it is a skill and it takes some cultivation. I do think being the youngest child and youngest grandchild, there were some manners and some things that I missed along the way. I was mainly playing with the dogs or in a corner sleeping with the dogs. Yeah, I was raised by dogs. And I did not learn great people skills. And so it's something I'm still working on, even though I'm pretty advanced in life. So no duty is more urgent than that of returning thanks. And I need to remember that. I might put that little quote on a card or something somewhere. I'm not saying I'm going to paint big words on the wall in one of my rooms, but I probably need to remember that when I run into a neighbor and I'm grateful for seeing them, whatever. I need to put that out there. How about one from Saint Therese of Lisieux? Prayer is an aspiration of the heart. It is a simple glance directed to heaven. It is a cry of gratitude and love in the midst of trial as well as joy. And I think I'm a little bit better at that spontaneous moment of looking at the person and thinking it. I'm not as great as expressing it. And I feel like Saint Therese is saying, hey, that it's important to do it in trial as well as in joy, to still look for that thing that you're thankful for. And in those moments, maybe it is harder to vocalize it. Maybe that's what she's acknowledging in here. Sometimes it is difficult to acknowledge that out loud. But if you can at least give that glance to heaven, right? At least have that movement of your heart in gratitude. Maybe that's step 1, right? Have that movement of your heart towards gratitude. And then maybe you can return that thanks. And hey, even if you didn't get a chance to say it to your friend and you don't write on social media a lot, and I know a lot of you don't post a lot, but you could always send the person a text, or you could send them a note card in the mail. It'd probably be something really lovely to get right now. Then there's a quote from St. Augustine of Hippo. Oh my God, let me remember with gratitude and confess to thee thy mercies towards me. So there's a little prayer right there to help us remember. Oh my God, let me remember with gratitude and confess to thee thy mercies towards me. That's a good one. So if you're having trouble saying it out loud, like St. Ambrose has us doing, right? We're not really acknowledging it. And we're not even quite like St. Therese of Lisieux, where we can look at God and have that in our heart, when we don't even have the movement of our heart. If you don't even have that, we're going to go back even further. We're going to go to St. Augustine and say, oh my God, let me remember with gratitude and confess to thee thy mercies towards me. And also those of others. Might want to add that one in. And so I thought I would go on to johnbradburnpoems.com and see if my good friend John Bradburn, whose cause is open for sainthood, to see if he had any words of wisdom. And before I could even type in the word gratitude, which I still may do later, or I invite you to try doing, I found the lines for today. So there is a little poem or section of poem of the day that's posted every day. And for today, this is what it has. Centered upon its queen, each swarm agrees implicitly with every member's move. Through day sublime as shade of linden trees, yields each part. I need to start this over. That was awful. Sorry. Centered upon its queen, each swarm agrees implicitly with every member's move. Through day sublime as shade of linden trees, yields each its part to serve that heart of love, which but to be the mother bee will prove. E'en so, in saying rosaries, the sum surrounds Maria, true to us above, through woe and weal, on many patty home. And I found this quote interesting because I could spend a lot more time in this one, centered upon its queen. And we always say that, don't we? If we keep our eyes on Christ, we're okay. And there are times when that's difficult, but if we keep our focus on asking Mary to guide us, right? And I know there's plenty of guys who watch this channel, but for you ladies, that's a helpful reminder to stay with our eyes on the queen. Each swarm agrees implicitly with every member's move. So if our eyes are on Mary, who then we're going to be looking, even if we're going to see Christ if we're looking at Mary. But if we do that, centered upon the queen, each swarm agrees implicitly with every member's move. Wouldn't it be nice to think that everybody in the church, right, we're all looking at Mary, who's leading us up to Christ and God the Father, right? We've got that line of sight going, right? And we keep our eyes there, and suddenly we're all working in harmony. He doesn't use the word harmony, but that's what I hear, because it then says, through day sublime as shade of linden trees, yields each its part to serve that heart of love. And I just kind of hear that hum. It brings back in that quote from St. Therese of Lisieux to me: prayer is an aspiration of the heart, is a simple glance directed towards heaven, is a cry of gratitude and love in the midst of trial as well as joy. And I think of that humming as we work together, right? Each swarm agrees implicitly with every member's move. Through day sublime as shade of linden trees, yields each its part to serve that heart of hearts. We're not all doing the same thing. We're each doing our own part, but we're all serving that heart of love. And because we're doing that, it works together, and there's like a synchronicity, and it hums. It hums. Which but to be, here, see the little pun in here, but which but to be the mother bee will prove. Even so, in saying rosaries, the sum surrounds Maria, true to us above. And it's kind of interesting because in a beehive, all the little worker bees surround the queen mother. And I love that he says mother bee, because we always say the queen of the hive. We don't normally say the mother, but she is truly their mother. And so they're surrounding their mother. As we say our rosaries, we're surrounding around her. And you think of the shape of that classical shape of the beehive, the coils going up, up, up. So we're like surrounding her with this hum of love, right? Surrounds Maria, true to us above, through woe and weal. No matter what, again, as St. Teresa says, in the midst of trial as well of joy, Maria is surrounding us, and we're each doing our part. And because we're serving that heart of love, we're not focusing on our woe and weal. We're focusing on heaven, and we're focusing on that and doing each our own part. As St. Francis says, I've done my part. Now it is yours to do yours. And so we're each doing our own part that's working in harmony. It's creating this synchronicity, this beautiful hum surrounding Mary. And you just imagine that Mary up in heaven, Queen of the angels, and you see this little glow around her, and it's all the love of all the people on earth. And we're kind of surrounding her with this, all our rosaries, all those flowers that we're laying on her feet, that sweet fragrance. And she just makes it even more perfect. She's standing there in the midst of that, all those many, many wreaths of flowers. You can imagine the eyes of God looking upon her then and just like, yeah. And there we are, because sometimes we goof up. We aren't really doing our part, or we're not keeping our eyes on Christ. We're not, trying to think, Mary perfectly gave her fiat. Jesus perfectly gave his fiat. And are we able to look at that and see that and emulate that in our lives? We can get caught up in our trial. We can get caught up in our joy and not remember to give thanks. And we have to then remember, like St. Ambrose, no duty is more urgent than that of returning thanks. And if we're unable to do it, say again in the words of St. Augustine, "O my God, let me remember with gratitude and confess to thee thy mercies towards me." And even as we're doing it, we're building it up. And it's so funny because, like in the example of the bees, the mother is sending them all out, and they're going out, their work is going to flowers and getting sweet nectar. And then there's all the benefit of the pollen being spread around, all the plants being pollinated is a side effect of them doing their work. There's all this beautiful creation happening as they're going out and doing their work. There's all these beautiful things happening. And their work is in fact lovely. It's work, but oh no, I have to go collect things among the flowers. Right? And we have to look for that, because there is joy and beauty in serving others. And we bring that back. And when we bring that back, it not just feeds us, but it feeds others. It builds up the hive, right? These beautiful jobs. Or maybe your job is to tend to the baby bees. But then you have the beautiful joy of watching them grow up. Or maybe your job is to help build up the hive so that there's more room for everyone and more room for that sweet honey, right? And so we all are creating something beautiful together. We're creating. It's just so lovely. And we're building up that body of Christ, right? We still have Christ as the head. We still have our mother bee, but we're building it up. We're all working together and building it up. Let me read the lines of John Bradburn one more time. Centered upon its queen, each swarm agrees, implicitly with every member's move. Through day sublime as shade of linden trees, yields each its part to serve that heart of love, which but to be the mother bee will prove. Even so, in saying rosaries, the sum surrounds Maria, true to us above, through woe and weal, Mani Padme Hum. How lovely, friends. So get out there and do your part in the dance. Do your part in the song. Do your part. Lift your voice up. We often read the Psalms. And let us not forget, the Psalms did. In fact, they were a cry of gratitude and love in the midst of trial as well as joy. That's what the Psalms are. They were meant to be sung, even if they were tales of woe or tales of joy. They were meant to be sung to God. We're my God, let me remember with gratitude and confess to thee my mercies towards me. We need to do that returning thanks constantly. It is praying the Psalms. Pray the Psalms with your life. I talk about all the time, St. Francis read the Psalms so much. They became part of his language. It was the way he talked. He talked in Psalms. And it's lovely to read anything that he has written, because so much of it is pulling from the Psalms and putting them together in new musical ways as he's raising, right, and returning those thanks and confessing to God his own mercies and that constant beauty of it, and just surrounding, building truth, beauty, and goodness and mystery. It's all there in the Catholic faith. It's all there in our gratitude to God for each of us to have that part that we can do, to share in that heart of love. How beautiful, friends. May God bless you on this beautiful fall day. Bye. We're in 20 minutes. I'm going to go. We're just going to do the sign of the cross. In nomine Patris, Filii, et Spiritus Sancti. Amen.